Hey. Thank you for coming back into this channel where we talk about emotional and spiritual health. I want to thank you, all my followers. I see the growth in numbers. I see the growth even in engagements. And some of you have DM'd me. You have told me how that you follow silently and that you are you're growing, and that means a lot to me. So in today's video, I want to talk about how to respond to triggers, and specifically trauma triggers, how to respond to them. What's a trigger? So the general definition of a trigger, trauma trigger, is a stimulus or a reaction that is involuntary, not voluntary, that causes you to react in a way you didn't even expect or even want to. For instance, you might go to a place where people are swimming and you see somebody diving into the water and you just start having a panic attack. You start having a reaction and you're like, what? Or you might see somebody, or you might see something in a movie and it triggers a stimulus, a reaction in you that may cause you to panic, have a panic attack, or even get depressed, or even get anxious, mostly anxious. And the reason that happens is because it's taking you back to something in the past that is it's still unresolved in your subconscious. That's what happens. But the thing about that is that most of us ignore those triggers. We don't do anything about them. We just nurse, or just maybe even leave the place, or stop watching what we were watching and don't ever address the trigger. And that's where we go wrong. So the first way to respond to a trauma trigger is actually to address it. Don't ignore it. So you address it. How do you address it? Actually, that's a question I know some of us are asking. Embrace the first step to addressing or responding to a trigger is actually embrace that emotion, but not for long, just briefly. Don't let it just come and go, because where did it go? It's going back to where it came from, which is your subconscious, and then it will keep on tormenting you. So that's what we say, face your fears, embrace that emotion, but briefly, not for long, because if you embrace it for long, it might take you to a black hole where again now you're depressed, you're so down, and you can leave the house, and all those things. Embrace it briefly. It means that you're signaling that you want to deal with it. You want to find out where it's coming from. So you embrace it briefly. The second thing you do is with that emotion, as you embrace it, you quickly get out of that and examine it. Examine where it's coming from. Ask questions. Why did I feel that way when I saw that person? Why did I feel that way? Where is this coming from? What is the root cause? As you ask yourself all these questions in a place, and I do understand that sometimes you may not be able to do it there and then, because like maybe you're driving or it's a public place. I understand that. Right. So what I do and what I've told my clients to do, write it down. Then in the evening or during your quiet time, address it and remember how you felt the emotion and embrace it, and then dig in, examine it, ask questions until you get to the root, because this is what happens. A trigger will cause an emotion, and emotions are attached to information or a way of thinking. So there is something deep inside your heart that was triggered, that maybe you think about something wrong Maybe there's something in your past that caused you to fear and be afraid of certain situations, of certain people, or certain gender, or whatever it is that triggers you. And so ask yourself, why am I afraid of that? What happened? And as you dig in, I promise you, because you have engaged yourself to find out, remember, seek and you will find the root of it. You'll find the root and you'll also find the information or the thinking, and then deal with that now. Start thinking. For instance, if somebody triggered you and they made you feel like stupid, or you're dumb, maybe they said something and it triggered you. Start asking yourself, why do I believe that I'm actually dumb? Where did that come from? And you'll find probably somebody told you that many times, repeatedly, long ago, maybe in your childhood, maybe in your adolescence, or somewhere, or somebody used to put you down in a relationship and you never resolved that, and now that it's projecting, it's triggering. Emotions are signals. I always tell people, treat emotions like signals, like a car signal. How, when you see signals, it is like there's something you need to check in your engine, kind of like that. So as you examine that, you're going to find the root, you're going to find the emotions attached to it. Then the thoughts, yeah, I said the thoughts, of course, and the information and everything you need to find out about that emotion. It may be even more than I am telling you, because right now I'm making a short video, but you might find even unhealed places in your soul. You might find a place that there's a wound, you might find rejection somewhere, and the way you think about situation. Okay, so let's move to the next step actually about examining an emotion. And that is reframing. So now you found the information. You found that you think you are dumb, or you believe rather. Yeah, you think and believe. Then reframe that. You are not. So reframe it, or reconceptualize it, or think differently about that. And that is how you deal with the trigger, so that trigger will have been useful for you. Most of the times we dread triggers, but actually triggers are good if you view them or give them the perception that they were created to do by God. Emotions and those triggers are supposed to help us to go find out what's wrong or what is missing in our heart that needs to be addressed. So it's not a condemnation issue. It's not even you shouldn't feel ashamed. You shouldn't feel any of the, or rather, let me not say you shouldn't feel, because feeling is okay. It's also telling you something, but you shouldn't dwell there. You shouldn't believe, what the lies attached to whatever you're going through. God wants you to go dig in deeper so that you can find the place you need to be healed. If there's a wrong perception about that trigger, then change it. If it's healing, then receive healing from God. And sometimes you have to go through pain, that painful experience, before you receive healing. Anyway, I'm going to end this video, but I'm going to also remind you, after you do those steps, stay in there, rest in there to receive whatever that healing or whatever happened. Because most of the times we do this and then move forward. Maybe the healing hasn't occurred completely. When you go to a hospital and you have surgery, do you just come home and just start walking? Even if you are feeling okay, the doctor will tell you rest for a week, rest for 6 weeks. That emotional examining of our emotions sometimes is painful, sometimes it's hard. It's actually hard depending on what it is. And so stay there in the place of healing. Stay there in the place of understanding of that. That is called working out our salvation, and it's so important. So don't just rush, just stay there. And that's what I call practice, or stay, rest, and receive whatever it is that you just went through to get in that processing, okay? So I hope that helped. It really does help when I coach people and teach them that. Most people tell me that it is everything. They are now able to respond to triggers. They respond unpleasant situations they feel, and they are able to respond to emotions better than they used to do. And I hope this video helps. So share, subscribe, like, let me know how you deal and how you address your emotions too, or just, you can add anything. Okay, bye for now.